Right then, hello and welcome back to ToCA Touring Car Championship, getting ready for round 8 of the ToCA Showdown at Brands Hatch. We won the race last time, so we're hoping for a repeat this time. So we're just going to end qualifying and start at the back.
The new Renault driver had a torrid time there, qualifying well down the order.
Indeed, so did my teammate Jason Plato, only starting second, with Frank Bieler taking the pole. James Thompson, John Bincliffe, Rickard Rydell, Tarquini, Leslie Harvey, Bert Cleland, Reed Warwick, Radicic, Watts and Hoy, the top 15.
And now let's move down to join the second race of the day.
Lovely, cheers Tiff. And we are... go! So let's see how we can get on with some more touring car bowling. Which, as I mentioned last time, is quite difficult to do around Brands Hatch. Because the track is too short and there's not really any good places to punt off the other drivers, apart from, you know, druids. But there's a massive gravel trap there, so the cars aren't going into the barriers at full speed. They're slowing down a lot and they're unable to roll, which is rather unfortunate. Oh well, not to worry, already up into the top 10. So you can give the Volvo a bit of a push. And around you go. No, actually, I think he'll collect that. Yep, he did. Right, let's take the Audi off. Way too much open space. Unlike the other circuits that are surrounded by barriers left, right and centre, there really isn't that many around old Brands Hatch, especially on the back straight area. There's just a massive grassy runoff area. Similar to what there is now, you know. There's no barrier to enclose the circuit, there's just a big grass bank. So we'll take the second Audi off. And again, they don't go into the tyre wall. Did he go around? No, he kept it together. Gosh darn it. And a 45.37, new fastest lap. Unfortunately, not the fastest we had for race 1. And I'm not going to take Plato off because, again, I mentioned during race 1 that we want to dominate the constructors and drivers' standings. Can never get clearways right. Always mess up going on the grass. Anyway, at least we got a 43.44. And almost a drift going into Paddock Hill Bend. Now, I know a lot of people do like my one-offs that I do on, you know, a semi-regular basis. Now, I managed to get my hands on a lot of the original official PlayStation Magazine demo discs, and there are a ton of them. I had a few already lying about in my old cupboard, which I managed to fish out, but yeah, I managed to get my hands on quite a few of the old demo discs. So I was wondering, would it be a fun idea to do one-offs of the good old demos, just to show off what they're all like and what games they used to have on there, and stuff like that. I think it'll be a rather unique touch to add those to the one-off list. I think they made like 97 or something, I want to say. I don't have all of them. There's a few that I'm missing, but I don't think I have the first one either. I think I've got like 3 and then upwards, but yeah, there's a load of them floating around as I go for a spin. It's always handy to look around charity shops and, or as some people say, thrift stores. Yeah, we call them junk shops or charity shops. Go in, find like games at like 50p. I used to work in a couple of charity shops. I used to work in 2. They were for Cancer Research UK. And unfortunately I wasn't dealing with customers. I was more of a stock hand, so I would, you know, organise any donations that had been given into the shop, either music CDs or games, clothing, and they would be sorted into piles, either colours or, you know, like cardigans that would come in, so they would be put into certain categories and then they would be sent off to be washed. And you had like a little, it looked like a little gun. It was a little tool that you put on the plastic tabs for labels. And I was talking to one of my colleagues and wasn't paying attention, so I stuck this. It had a huge needle on the front, so that would go in the cardigan. You'd press the trigger, it would shoot out a little plastic tab, and then you could hang on a label. So there I was yapping to my colleague, and I put this little contraption into the cardigan, straight into the top of my thumb. Luckily, I didn't press the little trigger on there, otherwise I would have been labelled. But yeah, my word, it bled like crazy. I had blood trickling down my arm, going down to my elbow. And it wasn't a huge, you know, cut either, but it went into the top of my thumb. So it's a bit like what you do for checking, you know, your blood sugar level. You have that little tiny needle that would, you know, check if you had low or high blood sugar. But yeah, it was very painful. Yeah, I really enjoyed work. I worked in the first charity shop, or the first Cancer Research UK shop that I worked in, was at the top of town, and it closed while I was working there. And they were moving down all of this stock from this one store down to another, which was at the bottom part of town. And this is going back 2004, 2005. And there was a massive metal box. It looked like a safe, and it had a handle on it and everything. It was like a huge metal briefcase box, and it was full of music CDs. So they took it down to this other store, and I was, of course, working down there as well. And one of the owners of the store came to me and said, "Do you like music?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do listen to quite a fair bit of music, mostly oldies and classic rock and stuff like that." And they said, "Well, you know that big metal box that you brought down from the previous store?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." She goes, "Do you know how many CDs there are in there?" I said, "About 140. And she said, "Do you want them?" I was like, "Oh, aren't you gonna, put them in the store here and try and sell them?" She goes, No, because we don't really deal with music CDs. We deal mostly with books and clothing and old, children's toys. We don't usually worry about CDs." So I was like, "Well, yeah, if you're sure, I'll gladly take them off your hands." So yeah, I was given a massive metal box. I could keep the box as well. Of about 140 music CDs, and they were mostly oldies. And there were a few foreign ones in there as well, like a few French albums, which I've never even heard of before. But yeah, I really enjoyed working in there. And then that store closed down as well, so I was like, well, bugger, I haven't got a place to work anymore. But yeah, it was really fun working down in there. I became friends with a lot of my colleagues, they were much older, you know. They'd been working in those stores for years and years and years. But, yeah, it was a good, fun experience. A lot better than the time I worked for Burger King for 8 hours. That was my entire working life at Burger King. This was 2003. But I went for an interview, and it was myself and 2 other staff that managed to get a job. And they were put in the kitchen to cook burgers and stuff like that. And they put me downstairs cleaning toilets. And I specifically mentioned during the interview that, you know, I like dealing with customers. I'm very much a customer service personnel. And they said, oh, that'll be alright then, because you'll be working on the tills and, you know, serving customers, and then you'll be in the kitchen, this, that, and the other. So I was like, yeah, great, you know, that's pretty much my forte anyway. But no, they stuck me downstairs, working in the toilets, cleaning the toilets, emptying all the rubbish, and it was disgusting, because the thing is, they had not hired a cleaner, ever. Since the premises opened, they never had a cleaner. So they used me to clean all downstairs, using all of these bleaches and cleaners that I had not been trained on, even though, you know, it's common sense, you know what cleaning products you're supposed to use, but I mean, yeah, you're supposed to be trained on it anyway. So, yeah, they had me cleaning all the floors, which were thick with dust. They'd never been cleaned. The toilet floors as well, mopping all around there, which were sticky, you know, they were covered in piss and this, that, and the other. Bloody disgusting. Emptying out the bins as well, which some dirty fucker had put in an old baby's nappy in there, or diaper, for you Americans. Yeah, so it fucking stank. And after 7 hours, I went up to the owner, took off my uniform, said, yeah, you can shove that up your ass. I said, I wanted to work with customers. I said, you just literally got me to clean your bloody toilets. I said, what about the other 2 staff that, you know, had no experience with customers? Why didn't you skivvy off their bloody jobs? I was never paid for it either. So they got 7 hours of free labour out of me to clean their sodden toilets. I didn't even get a break. I just realised I'd never had a break either. I was working, you know, cleaning all the whole area, and I didn't even have a 15-minute break, which is illegal. You're supposed to get at least a 15-minute break for anything under 8 hours, I think. If you work for 4 hours, then I think it's a 5-minute break or 10-minute break. I can't remember. This is a long time ago. But yeah, it was a disgusting shithole. Never again will I work for a fast food company. And then, what did I go and do? I worked for McDonald's for a couple of months. Again, it was another dirty, disgusting shithole. And they put me down. Yeah, started working in for McDonald's, and I wanted full-time hours, which is 39 hours a week. And the first week was fine. The second week they were taking the piss a bit, because I started working at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I would be on the closing shift, and they put me on for close. Now that is usually 2 o'clock in the morning. Unfortunately, I didn't get out of the premises until 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I had to be in work again for 10 o'clock the following morning. So, yeah, again, which is illegal. You're supposed to have a certain amount of time between shifts, and no, it was 6 hours. So I had to get home, have a shower, go to bed, and then get up, like, literally 4 hours later to start work again. But yeah, I let that slide because, you know, fair enough, it's work, it's money. And, then they made up the rota for the following week. And again, I wanted full-time hours, so 39 hours. And I was put down for 1 4-hour shift. So I went to the manager and I said, why have I only been put down 4 hours? He was like, oh, that is all we can give you this week. So I was like, okay, and what about the following week? 16 hours. I was like, I can't live on this. You know, what the hell am I supposed to do with 16 hours one week and 4 hours another week? I said I would be better off not working here. And so I did. I told him to shove it. So, yeah, I've worked in Burger King, I've worked in McDonald's, and I've worked for Domino's as well. Domino's was alright-ish. You know, it wasn't that great. But, yeah, not fun. Not fun in the slightest. They weren't the happiest memories, I must admit. But, oh well. Look at that, waffling on so much and we're already on lap 21. And I can't even remember how it got to the topic of me talking about where I worked. Oh my god, we're actually going to lap my bloody teammate. I don't know if he's leading though, he still might be third. If Frank Bieler is still leading the race. Come on Plato, get out of the way. He didn't spin off, did he? No, good. Right, lap 22. I have 17 laps remaining. But, yeah, working in customer service, a lot of people, you know, put their nose up at working for customer service or in the customer service sect. They always say, oh, it's like the lowest rung of the ladder, it's horrible, I'll never work for customer service. However, as crappy as customer service is, there are a couple of instances that really stick in your mind, you know, that really make you feel appreciated that, oh, yeah, you just work behind the till, this, that, and the other, yada, yada, yada. Well, no, it is a lot more than that. You know, you are given a lot of responsibilities outside of working on a till. You know, you have to worry about orders, you have to phone up companies and order XYZ amount of stock and make sure that you get all your numbers right when you cash up in the evenings and lock up the store and this, that, and the other. So, you know, it's not just, oh, you're working on tills or checkouts, whatever. But my biggest, fondest memory is, I worked in the co-op for a number of years. And, the store was closing down. Which, it's weird. Maybe I have like maybe I jinx company, because every single company that I usually work for ends up closing down after a while. But no, I left under medical grounds, because this was many years ago. I tore my esophageal valve by lifting stock in an awkward position. And I tore the valve in my esophagus. So I was put on medical leave for 6 months. And then I was medically, you know, fired or discharged or whatever. I was let go after a number of months. And I bumped into a customer not long after that. And he was like, oh, Dan, you alright? How you doing? And I told him, you know, why I left the work and this, that, and the other. And he said to me, he goes, I'll tell you what, I said, I never went in there after I found out you left. And I was like, why? And he goes, because you were the only one that smiled. And I was like, oh, bless. But, yeah, having comments like that actually makes you feel like people give a crap. Rather than the management of the company I worked for, who let me go because I was medically unfit to work. So, yeah. The old manager, the one that got rid of me while I was ill, she was a total bitch. I'm not gonna say her name or anything because I can't actually remember her name anyway. But I had, when I tore my valve in my esophagus, I had to have an endoscopy. If you don't know what an endoscopy is, it is a camera shoved down your throat into your stomach and duodenum or duodenum or whatever, however it's pronounced. And they took a biopsy of my stomach lining because they didn't know why I was vomiting, you know, all day, every day for months. And, you know, they were a bit worried that it was something quite sinister. But no, it turned out that it was just a torn valve, which eventually healed. It's not 100%, but I'm now on omeprazoles for life because I have severe heartburn constantly. But anyway, so I explained this to this manager where I worked, and I said, yeah, they took a biopsy of my stomach lining and everything, and she turned around and said, no, I don't think they did. And I was like, excuse me? She goes, I don't think they give you a biopsy. And I was like, why'd you say that? She goes, oh, because I know, I've had an endoscopy before. I said, then you would know that this was a particular type of endoscopy where they took a biopsy of my stomach. Oh no, they wouldn't have done that. And I said, yes, they bloody did. I was having an argument with my manager, well, this newly drafted in manager who didn't know what the hell she was talking about. So I had to explain to her. I said, yes, because they put it in a little plastic tube and they showed me afterwards. It looked like yellow fat. And I was like, you know, that they showed me the tool that they use as well. It's like a little tiny prong that goes into a little tube where the camera is. And it's like one of those claw machines that you find at like fun fairs that never picks up anything. I said, yeah, it had 3 little prongs on the end, and they used that to cut into my stomach lining to take a biopsy. Oh no, I bet they never did that. I said, were you there? I said, were you at the procedure? Did you perform the procedure for me? Well, no. I said, I went through the procedure. I know what happened. Snidey bitch. I really can't. I honestly cannot stand people who think they know what you're going through and they have no clue whatsoever. Oh, there goes a Volvo. But yeah, she was a nasty cow. Really horrible. No one liked her. She thinks she knew everything, but she just sat on her ass. She didn't do anything, you know, in the store. She sat on her ass in the office out the back. If you would ring for the manager, because back then you had like a little bell underneath the desk, ring it 3 times for the manager and they'll come out and help you or whatever. So you ring it 3 times and she wouldn't do anything. She wouldn't even leave the office. She'd be on her phone constantly. And yeah, she was just useless as the day was long. Absolutely horrible cow. So, yeah, I can't stand, I really can't stand people who think they know everything and they know sod all. I will say though, as a point, endoscopies are not fun. If you have to have an endoscopy, ask to be put asleep for the procedure. Unless you have, you know, if you've got a really strong gag reflex or you have no gag reflex at all, you're absolutely fine. Me, on the other hand, I have a very weak gag reflex. I'm surprised all my retching didn't wake the dead. It was bloody awful. It looks like a really tiny camera and it feels like a massive drain pipe in your throat. And they use this numbing spray as well, which was bloody awful because it makes your throat feel like it's really swollen, which makes you feel like you want to retch even more. I did actually ask him to put me out when I went through the procedure. I was like, you know, can you just give me a local anaesthetic just to knock me out because I really don't want to go through it? Oh yeah, we'll be able to sort that out for you. No. Here you go, here's some numbing spray at the back of your throat. We're going to stick this plastic thing in your mouth with a circle on it. Like a fucking ball gag. And they're going to stick a pipe through it down to your throat. Thank you very much. It only lasted, I think the procedure lasted about 10-15 minutes. My god, it felt like it lasted 10 years. It was horrible. Oh. See, my brother, he has to have an endoscopy every couple of months. Oh, how he can, you know, go through that constantly, I have no idea. Bloody awful. I did have a nasal endoscopy, which is similar but different, if you know what I mean. Instead of going directly in the back of your throat and down into your gullet, it goes up your nasal cavity and then... Oh, I went into the pits. Ah, I think I've done a boo-boo here. Oh no, it's quite fast going through here. But yeah, so a nasal endoscopy, it goes up the nose and then down the back of your throat instead. I had no problems with that at all. It was actually really comfortable. The only uncomfortable thing about it was it felt like I had, you know, snot in the back of my throat. I had to keep trying to clear my nose. But no, I had no problems with that at all. So a nasal endoscopy is fine. It does not affect your gag reflex or anything like that. But yeah, it's really weird. It wasn't that uncomfortable either. It tickled. It was a weird tickly feeling up the nose. As soon as they pulled the camera out, I had a massive sneeze. So, yeah, that was fun. Some insights into my past. Ooh, spooky. I think this is the most I've actually talked in any video in the 12 years my channel has existed. How bizarre. Go on. Bugger off. Yeah, see, the chance of rolling any of the AI cars is slim to none around Brands. Coming up to lap the Volvo again. Mind you, most of these probably went past when I went into the pits on accident. And we're coming up to 2 laps to go. And we were 1 second off the previous lap time. Oh, sod it. So yeah, as we're coming up to the end of this race, I do apologise for waffling on and on and on and on and on for, well, almost half an hour. Was not intended. However, if you do like these games with no commentary at all, then check out my second channel. It's the same games, just with no talking. Shameless plug, there you go. A nice segue into it. Right, let's get past Warwick. Oh, dangerous driving. See, during the first race, the Ford went straight into me. They didn't get a bloody warning. Oh well. No problem. So there we go. Brands Hatch, and a winning sweep.
Once again, the new Renault driver has proven himself a winner. So let's have a closer look at the final positions.
I am a wiener, yeah, so 29 minutes. We lapped Jason Plato, so we lapped everyone. So yeah, that wasn't bad at all. Thompson, Leslie, Rydell, Bincliffe, Beeler, Tarquini, Burt, Reed, Watts, Hoy, Harvey, Cleland, Razic, and Warwick. So yeah, not bad at all.
So let's see how today's events affect the championship table. The new Renault driver is opening up a substantial lead and must now fancy his chances in the championship.
Yeah, so there we go. So I don't know if I've actually won every race so far this season. You know, it's been so long since the last episode. I can't remember if I've won every single race so far. But yes, a substantial lead, and we are doing it in fine style. So, yeah, we'll be back next time then for rounds, 9 and 10 of the 1997 Touring Car Championship, the Showdown Championship on ToCA Touring Cars. So I will leave it here for now. Thank you very much for watching, as always, and I will see you next time. Take care, stay safe, and bye for now.